Those who know don't talk. Those who talk don't know. This ancient wisdom is difficult for a preacher like me. I imagine it's also difficult for those who are in speaking professions such as professors, teachers, or sales. This is a challenging text. Those of you who have the gift of gab, this is also a difficult text. Now, I assume the Tao should be added to those sentences. So it is, those who know the Tao don't talk. Those who talk don't know the Tao. The Tao is the way, the path of peace, the street of serenity. The Tao aligns itself with all that is natural and never forces a thing. It just sort of is. When we close our mouths and just hear the Tao there in the mystery of the silence. Now, those two difficult sentences, I think, are hyperbole and could use some additional clarifications. Those who know the Tao don't talk for the sake of talking. Those who know the Tao don't talk to prove anything. Those who know the Tao don't talk to display themselves. They talk when it is right to do so, when it is effortless. When it snows, it snows. And when you talk, never forcing a word. From the roar of trucks on Main Street to trains screaming their dissonance to news talk shows and those commentators trying to figure out who will or what will happen on November 3rd, we have more than enough to listen to. Perhaps we overhear at times, but with so much to take in, so much to listen to, how well and how deeply do we actually hear one another and ourselves in this drive-through world with so few moments of quiet? It is not just the Tao Te Ching that speaks of the wisdom of listening and shutting our mouths. In Judaism, Shema is the first Hebrew word of the confessional prayer about God and the Jewish people. It's prayed twice a day after waking and before bed. Shema means to listen or to hear. Shema Israel Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Listen, Israel. The Lord is our God. God is one. In Christianity, chapter 1 of the book of James, one of my favorite books, is a wonderful phrase. Let everyone be quick to listen and slow to speak. One of the companions of Muhammad said, whoever believes in Allah and the last day should speak a good word or remain silent. And when the Buddha began to teach in the deer park, 2 deer knelt down and perked up their ears, listening to gain wisdom and auditory meditation. So why do these ancient world wisdoms seem so universally to tell us the importance of listening and not to talk? It's because listening and not talking is just so difficult for most of us. Even on the verbose side of the Unitarian side of our tradition, Ralph Waldo Emerson wrote about what he called the oversoul, which was heavily influenced by Hinduism. The idea of the supreme soul, the oversoul, unifies people, transcends the binary, the divisive parts, into a common heart, what he called the eternal one, the soul of the whole, universal beauty, and wise silence. And this wise silence is accessible to everyone, and all we have to do is listen and hear. Shema. We need to pay attention and to listen to our own consciences as well, to that still small voice within that guides us like a light to truth. I know that some of you may go on silent retreats, but you can do this rather informally by carving out a period of time in your day to simply not talk and to not listen to a podcast, to not watch YouTube. Don't even read anything. Don't attempt to think profound thoughts. Just see if you can get a glimpse of who you are without all these things barking at us. By hearing and simply listening, you may find where the Tao is, where the great I am, Yahweh, speaks, where that inaudible voice calls us into a wise silence, where we hear the gentle whisper of peace. Listening deeply restores us. Rested, our senses can now awaken again. Now, once we have truly listened and soaked it all up and observed all we can, we need to process that observation. And we must recognize that we own our own feelings and not to try to disguise them like we're trick-or-treating. Our reactions are our own stuff. And when we truly listen, we can hear more clearly what the other's needs are. But sometimes, unfortunately, people say things that are just not nice. And then we have to listen, really listen to our own feelings and our own needs. Stop, take a breath, observe ourselves. Perhaps feel your heart rate increase. And say to yourself, I'm getting angry because, and ask yourself, what judgments are you making? Have empathy for yourself. Why would they have said that? What needs might they have that are not being met? Can you have empathy for the person you listen to? This process takes time and takes practice. And then maybe after processing, maybe then we can speak our truth. The more we listen, the more people, I believe, will listen to us. After having deeply listened, it is easier to speak that because we're guided by our observations rather than our evaluations. Like Kim Bouchard said earlier, she just stopped grading and evaluating and listened to her students, to the beauty and the diversity of their expressions that were before her. When we speak, avoid the always, never, ever, whenever, and replace them with I observe, I see, I think, I feel. Articulate yourself. Put into words your observations, your sense of what just occurred, your feelings. And may hear, we may hear in someone's words pain, unfulfilled needs that we need to rephrase back to them. Paying special attention to the feelings in the words is really what a great listener does. And it shows we are caring and listening when we rephrase those words back and those feelings back. By caring, by listening, we are healing the world. Now, I'm sure all of you had the experience where something was not right and you had to go speak to your boss or the other person in charge. First and foremost, you want to be heard. You don't want facts and figures. You want to be heard. That is the healing part. It feels great to be heard. Listening, processing, and then speaking is a difficult task. Sometimes you don't know what to say in real time, and that's okay. Sometimes it's better to say nothing at all. Silence is okay. And those of you who are in listening circles, we're learning that with each other. I recently watched a clip on YouTube of one of my favorite bass players, Victor Wooten. He's talking to a room full of bass players, and he instructs those bass students to quit trying to get people to listen to you and be more in the music. Play music that is repetitive, that has a groove. Focus on the feel, the feeling, because feeling doesn't have to be learned. If you can reach someone with feeling and play less technical things, you will be felt and heard. In other words, you don't have to have all the answers, to have all the technical language, all the best words. If you have empathy, feel, a groove, a caring heart, that is enough. Listen, process, then speak your truth. Amen, and blessed be.